to Those Forking Fangirls, where we talk all things nerdy, book, TV, movie, pop culture, and fandoms and how they integrate into our adult lives. I'm Christine.
And I'm Natasha. And today we have a very, very, very special author guest today. My friend Julie Murphy, who is the #1 New York Times bestselling author of Dumplin' and so many more amazing Fat Rep books across all genres and age ranges, joining us to chat about representation of plus bodies in publishing. Julie and I go way, way back. I can remember when I first got her arc of Dumplin'. I was reading it on a beach in 2015, and I just had all of these emotions go over me as I first read it, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, I'm actually reading what I've thought about myself in a character for the first time in a very long time." Julie, you know this story.
It's so sweet, though. I want to hear it again and again.
I was 21, and I needed to see my experience validated on a page, and Julie did that for me. She was the first one. She's done so much for me personally, and we've now had multiple experiences over the last 9 years talking about Fat Rep, and I'm so excited for this intimate chat. So, Julie, welcome to the pod.
Welcome.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited. Natasha, in my head, I know you were 21 when you read Dumplin', but you'll always be 14 in my head, even though I didn't know you when you were 14. Every time like you have a birthday or something like that, I'm just shocked. And I'm like, no, Natasha's a 14-year-old vampire. She can never age.
I'm turning 30 on Monday.
Shh, don't tell me that. That's obscene. Happy birthday, baby.
Thank you. Yeah. Laura
14.
says, wow, almost a decade of Dumplin'. That's amazing.
That is amazing.
Cheer.
Yeah, it'll be 20 years. Or no, my God, not 20 years. 10
Not
years
20.
next year.
Oh, Lordy.
Damn.
Well, we're excited to talk
exciting.
about
Do you
all
think
that.
you're going to do something? I guess maybe you can't say. We're going to do something special for the 10-year anniversary.
We're hoping to, but yes, I can't say. So we'll see.
Very exciting. All right. So we are so excited. We're going to jump right into things with you. We want to get to know you better. We want our audience to get to know you better. So we want to start with the foundation of your reading, writing life. So to kick this off, where did you grow up, Julie? And what was your relationship with reading like in your house growing up? Did your parents love books? Did your siblings? Who was like, here, reading's cool?
Okay, I'm from Bridgeport, Connecticut, and anytime I say I'm from Connecticut, people are like, Gilmore Girls, so sweet, so adorable. And Bridgeport, Connecticut is not that version of Connecticut. Our family cars were stolen like 5 times before I turned like 6 years old or something. So it's not the pretty version of Connecticut, but it's my version of Connecticut. So I always have to clarify that. And you know, honestly, my dad was in and out of prison early on in my life, and my mom was like hustling as essentially a single mom while he was away on a business trip, is what I was always told as a kid.
Okay.
You know, on a business trip where everyone wears the same outfit and lives in the same place and never gets to leave.
Did you I know this
Parents
is
are
like
weird.
invasive, but like, did you ever go visit him, or was that, or no?
No, we didn't ever go visit him. He did get like weekends away because it was like, you know, low security. So he did get weekends away. He got married to my mom on a weekend away.
Oh, shoot.
So yeah. So there you go. So that's actually a little nugget of Julie information that I don't talk about much.
Yeah,
So.
I didn't.
Thanks
feel
for
like-
sharing with us.
I feel like I knew that, but I haven't heard it in a long time. Like, it was a very brief thing that I haven't heard in a while.
Yeah. No, it's something I typically go into tons of detail about. But anyhow, so my mom liked reading, and I was always read to as a child, but really my fascination from books came from the fact that I loved free shit. and you could go to the library and there was no limit on how many books you could check out. And I remember like one of my earliest library experiences, like I went up to the front desk with like a whole stack of books and I was like, do you guys have like a bag or anything like that I could put my free purchases in? And the librarian was like, we don't have bags. And I was like, nothing. And I think she probably like took her lunch out of a plastic bag and gave it to me or something, because I was like, I walked out with like my hands full of like 30 books or something
It's
crazy.
giving like Matilda with her wagon of books coming
Yeah.
home from the library.
I was thinking more like Pretty Woman with like the
Yes.
purse or like the bags.
I was
But-
just picturing
but-
you very young.
Matilda is also really good. I also like growing up, I was the youngest, not only in my like immediate family, but in my extended family. So everything I liked was completely completely inappropriate for my age. Like, you guys are a little bit younger than me, so you might not know this movie, but like I would go to school and everyone would be like, "What's your favorite movie?" And I'd be like, "Sleeping with the Enemy." Duh.
Wait.
Ghost. Duh.
Wait, who's in
Ghost.
Sleeping with the Enemy?
I think is it Julia Roberts? Did I make that up?
Is
It's the one where she's running from her ex-husband and she has to like flush her wedding ring down the toilet. And it was
God.
so dramatic and I
I
became
have to watch
obsessed.
that.
Yeah. It might not be Julia Roberts. I think that as a child I just plugged Julia Roberts into every single movie I ever saw.
She
And
was in
she
everything.
like the person. But anyways, there's a moment in that movie when the woman flushes her wedding ring down the toilet and is like, "Goodbye, I'm done with you." And I became obsessed with flushing things down the toilet.
Oh my gosh.
That I wasn't supposed to flush.
How do you
What have you
remember?
flushed down the toilet? What have you flushed down the toilet?
Just like hair ties, like things that like did not belong, like toys, like McDonald's toys, like all kinds of things. And I grew up also in like a 1-bathroom household, so this was an actual problem.
Oh God.
So anyways, I didn't grow up in like one of those like picturesque households where like there was always someone reading to me, but I always loved stories. And so there was always a fascination of like with stories for me growing up,
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah, we have it confirmed. Emily looked it up. It's Julia Roberts.
Okay, that's fantastic. Good for young Julie.
I just have to say, Julie, I was also obsessed with like Julia Roberts growing up, so we do have that in
Yeah.
common. My favorite movie
too.
was My Best Friend's Wedding when I was like 5.
Oh my
Mine's Runaway
gosh.
Bride.
Best Friend's Wedding is like a formative movie for me. Like that's why I feel like every time I try to write like a solo rom-com on my own, it's always a little bit sad. And my co-author is always like, "Can you stop it with the sad shit? They don't have to be sad." And I'm like, "But have you seen My Best Friend's Wedding? Love is always sad."
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
That's why I've only seen that movie once because I was like, this is sad.
I know.
All right, we need to keep
All
going.
right.
We've got
Okay,
so
we're
much.
gonna we're gonna reel this back. All right.
Okay.
Julie, I wanted to wait before we get off like early stories and Julia Roberts. What was your first book that you fell in love with when you were young? Do you remember?
Yeah, so when I was a really young kid, it had to be Where the Wild Things Are and Gillian Jiggs. Gillian Jiggs was an actual walking disaster. I don't know if either of you read the Gillian Jiggs books, but I loved her. I loved Amelia Bedelia. And then like it
Yes.
quickly went from like that to Sweet Valley High, and then all of a sudden like I was obsessed with like the occult and like
Wait,
and like
what?
really inappropriate like fantasy books, like Clan of the Cave Bear and stuff like that.
Ooh.
But like I grew up during like the Satanic Panic, or if I not necessarily during the Satanic Panic, but like the people I grew up with were older and had grown up during the Satanic Panic, and so it did develop like a very big interest in like the devil's coming for you. What's going on?
Nice.
So yeah, it was a real jump as a child into.
So, what books
into
did you
adult
read
content.
about the occult?
My mom got into like a real big Christian phase that lasted for most of my adolescence. So a lot of the occult books I read were like Christian based occult books. So there was lots of like, oh gosh, I can't think of any particular ones right now. But also like the Left Behind series, which is like so
Oh yeah.
embarrassing to admit out loud, but like there was a lot of Christian fiction happening at that time that was like, I'm gonna chase the devil out of town kind of Christian fiction. Yeah,
Nice.
there we go. Let it all hang out.
My grandma was all about the Left Behind series, so I'm with you there.
Yeah, there's like 300 of them or something. It's like Sweet Valley High, basically.
Yes.
But about the rapture.
So, Julie, you write beautiful love stories. And if you're open to sharing, we'd love to hear your meet cute moment with your love story with your husband. If not, we can pass.
No, I would love to share it. It's actually really
Yay.
adorable and it makes me sick. So my husband and I met at community college. I was a poor kid pushing my way through school on my own. So I was going to community college. He was on academic probation from Texas A&M. So he was at a community college trying to get his GPA up. It took a very long time, but I was taking a creative writing class. Not because I felt like I had the confidence to write, but I was just very curious about it and the creative process. And so I told myself, I want to work with writers. I don't want to be a writer. So I decided to take a creative writing class, and lo and behold, so did he. And it was taught by a romance author, like who used to write like Harlequin bodice ripping paperbacks
Oh, wow.
and like also like westerns and stuff. And
Nice.
her pen name is Von Jocks.
Oh.
And I know it's a very saucy pen name. I like it. And anyhow, she was so fun and like a little bit flighty and ridiculous. And I had so much fun in her class. And I had so much fun that I didn't realize that there was a boy that kept sitting one seat closer to me every time we came to class. Until the last day of class, he asked me if I wanted to go out for lunch. And I had plans and I said no, but I'll go out for dinner with you.
Oh.
And we went out for dinner and he was broke and we fell in love. And that's it. I mean, you know, bumps are along the way and, you know,
Yeah,
he wasn't
yeah.
broke forever, thankfully.
You guys met in creative
Yeah.
writing class, though.
Creative writing class taught by
Fate.
a romance teacher. I
Wow.
mean,
Yes.
Wow.
it's pretty ridiculous. Yeah. Yeah.
Yes. It's so universal.
By Professor
Yeah.
Vaughn.
I would be Von Jocks. I know. I would be so bad at dating now. I think that if we've talked about this, if anything happens to either of us, we'll just be single forever because I don't have the energy for like what dating requires now. Like,
It's terrible.
Yeah, it's not
Yeah.
fun.
It's a full
you
part-time
guys are,
job.
like, yeah, it's a full-time job. You guys are on the front lines. I don't know. I don't like people enough to do all that it entails to date now.
I mean, I haven't gone on a date since 2021, so
Dude,
Yeah.
it sucks. It's terrible.
no. Just
Christine's gone on
Yeah.
too many
All right.
dates.
no thanks.
I've gone on so many bad ones.
Yeah.
You get the occasional decent.
Yeah.
All right, Julie.
Um,
So, what was your first experience? I know there's not many of seeing a plus size character authentically represented. This is important on screen or in books. What was that like for you?
Oh man. Okay, so growing up there were a handful of times when I saw like real plus size pain. That's like I can remember oh my gosh, someone in the chat is going to have to help me remember the name of this book, but it was like an Oprah book club book that was like a blue ocean. It was like something about her eyes or the deepest something about a plus size woman. And it was so depressing and I can't remember the name of it, but it was a big Oprah book club book, but it was one of the few times I'd read something that like I hated it and I hated the way it made me feel because it didn't resonate with me so much on that level, but it did. It was the first time that it like clued into the pain that I sometimes felt, not the deep end of the ocean. Oh my God, I'm so sorry. This cat like is just
Welcome, Kitty.
Not. Hey, okay, buddy. Okay. We're going. He's very aggressive, so like I have to
With his love?
be careful how I handle him. Yes, he's a very aggressive lover. So that was pretty seminal, but really what like really did it for me was Ricky Martin. Oh my God, Ricky Lake.
Ricky Martin.
Ricky Martin, Ricky Lake and Hairspray. Like that was one of the first times. And then like later on, My Mad Fat Diary was something that I watched before I was writing Dumplin'. That was very big inspiration for Dumplin' for sure.
So like all of those
Yeah.
feelings and emotions about like not seeing yourself represented in the book, The Deep End of the Ocean, did that start kind of having you think that, okay, well, maybe I can write something with my own experiences as a plus size woman?
Yeah, I wish that I could say that it was that simple and I was like, I'm going to do this. I'm going to write about plus size women. But so my very first book is a book called Side Effects May Vary. And the sort of like the antagonist in that book is actually a plus size girl. And I really love her, and she's a little bit of a mean girl, and she's like one of my, I had so much fun writing her. And it wasn't actually until writing that book, releasing it, and letting it sit for a minute before I realized, why did she have to be the antagonist? Like, why wasn't the main character just plus size? And I think that you'll hear a lot of writers say that there are things in their lives that they're waiting to be ready to talk about and waiting to be ready to write about. And I think that I was waiting for this magic moment to feel ready to write about a plus size character. And I just sort of had this light bulb moment when I realized like there was no right time. And I was never going to be this fully formed person who knew exactly how I felt about my body and who I wanted the world to perceive me as. And maybe one way that I could start to figure that out. Yeah. So I think that was like that first moment for me was realizing like, why hadn't I written the plus size main character? I actually feel the same way about like certain aspects of my family. Like I'm always waiting to write about like that like wound or that like thing that really is like the basis of so much of my personality. But the time is never right. And so you kind of just have to jump into like the deep end with something like that. And so I had been reading like a lot of really early fat positive like think pieces on the internet around the time that I wrote Dumplin'. But it definitely like for me that entire formation of my personality coincided with writing Dumplin'. Like it wasn't something I came to beforehand. It was something that I had to find in Dumplin'.
Did you find it very therapeutic? Like once you got into it, or was it scary?
It was terrifying. Like even sending it to my editor and her giving me feedback on it and seeing like the ways in which I had created this character who I loved and really took a lot of care with and still had found ways to be fat phobic toward was like a really, I love my editor so much, and I'll always be grateful to her for being able to see those things. And also like she's a thin woman who has like Michelle Obama arms. And so that takes a lot for someone like that to feel comfortable to say like, I think you can dig deeper. I think there's more here. And so she really did help shape so much of like what Dumplin' did one day become.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's like, she's like a free therapist.
Yeah. Yeah. I know. It's really
I think
unhealthy.
you can dig deeper.
Yeah. Yeah. I know.
Yeah.
So
Because there's so many things like that are normalized. I think back then, like for just fat phobia in general, that you don't even know until it's like pulled out and it's presented right in front of you.
I mean, even at the time that Dumplin' was released, body positive was a phrase that every
so
time I
new.
talked about it, I had to educate people on what it meant.
Yep.
I had literally a spiel that like I had talked through with my editor and my publicist to quickly explain what body positive was, and how it wasn't gonna like, devour a generation and make a whole generation just like an army of fat people. I mean, maybe it will, who knows.
It's just like, it's just interesting because I remember having this conversation with you, Julie, and like I've had to ask Julie multiple times over the last over the years, like 10 years I've known her, of like, well, should I do this? I don't know how to do this, or like, how do you feel about this? And then I just remember you being like, like, I'm passing the torch on. Here's my knowledge. I'm just so glad it's gonna keep going. I'm just tired right now because you did all that work for so long, and like I feel
Yeah.
like that too. I'm like, I'm just tired.
I know.
Yeah, I feel like you've both done so much educating the public about body positivity, which is amazing.
Yeah, I know. I think that like a few years ago, I just kind of hit this point. Like I love seeing like a younger generation excited about that, especially because there's so much in conversation right now about like, have we left body positivity behind? Like, have we forgotten like this message? And I'm glad that just that alone is still in conversation, because I know that it's easy to be discouraged in the moment, but the fact that we're still talking about it means that it's still in the conversation. It's still in like the, the global thought process. So I do want people to hopefully feel encouraged by that. Like, I don't think it's something that we can so quickly forget about, even if it's never going to be like a journey that's on even footing. Like, there's always going to be ups and downs and things like that. So, yeah, I really went off on a tangent there.
It's okay.
It was a great tangent. We love that tangent.
I know. I just want to say, Elise said Dumplin was actually the first time I ever heard of body positivity. She grew up in conservative Idaho, and it was such a huge learning experience during and then after. And then even Chloe said it was 100% the first time I saw it in a book.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
There's a whole generation, Julie.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, Natasha, you were like the first time I heard about body positivity. And then I remember being so excited about Dumplin. And I was just like learning so much because no one ever has talked about it. Like, it's just been, at that time, it was just completely new.
Yeah. Yeah. And
And
it's
that's
such like
like
a layered discussion. Like, when it comes to like fat positivity versus body positivity and all these different things. But at the end of the day, like, it's for everyone. You know what I mean? Like, it's like that Joe Biden gift, like helps the economy, hurts no one. Like, that's how I feel about body positivity. So like, just chill the hell out, folks,
I know, like, sit down.
Yeah.
I feel like, Julie, you said that you don't have like a moment where you were like, wow, I could be an author. But if you do, please share it. Because it kind of feels like it was like, do you have one?
I do.
Oh, okay.
I think it's
tell us.
especially appropriate for this
Oh.
podcast.
Share.
Okay, so I was in college a few years after having met Ian, and I was going to school for my major was political science, and I had like a real strong focus on research. Like, I wanted to become a political librarian, or not a political librarian, like a legal librarian, or work on like political campaigns as sort of like a behind the scenes like fixer. And
Wow.
it's totally
Olivia
different.
Pope?
I know. I wanted to be a little baby Olivia Pope, a little chubby Olivia Pope, just running around fixing things.
Amazing.
I'm really bossy, so I think it really would have worked out well for me. But anyhow, I had this like, on the horizon for me, and I was taking this incredibly boring class called The Fall of the Russian Empire that I just totally mentally clocked out of. And I found this little book that you might have heard of called Twilight. And
Yes.
this was like just before the first movie came out, and I read the first book like at least like 12 times or something like that. I saw the first Twilight movie in theaters. It also coincided with like a really difficult time in my family's history. And so I saw that first movie in theaters like 22 times. And the last time I had seen a movie in theaters that many times was Garden State, which is also, as cheesy as it is, like a very pivotal movie for me. And so I just had this moment where I was about to graduate college and I was faced with like this very serious career. And I was like, this bitch just wrote a book about sparkly vampires.
It went really
And-
well.
And it went really well for her. Yeah. Like, we all love it. Like, why don't I just try writing something and seeing if anyone wants to read it? And that's not any shade on Stephanie Meyer.
Not at
Like, that's
all.
like,
That's a
I stand
feat.
by Twilight till the day I die. But
Yes.
yeah, it was just this moment that gave me like enough confidence to realize that like books aren't for stuffy old dead people. Like, books and stories are for people who like want to consume fun, ridiculous things and get lost in a story. And what if I gave it a go? So yeah, Twilight is where it all started for me.
How did I not know
Same.
Twilight was your origins
Damn.
author story?
Yeah, I
Oh.
can't believe we didn't know this.
I talk about it all the time. I'm
Maybe
shocked
I
that you
have.
don't
I-
know.
I think,
but like
I think I do.
but like yeah,
Maybe.
Twilight's where it all began. And like also like some of the most important relationships in my life were like fortified by Twilight. I'm sure you guys feel this too. But like it's just for me, like it's just it'll always be, I feel like a lot of people feel this way about Harry Potter, for as, you know, problematic as that might be now, but Twilight will always be like the thing for me. Like, give me a sparkly vampire.
Always.
Yes.
Yeah. In fact, we are actually, so now I'm really going off on a tangent. My romance series that I write with Sierra Simone, we do these little novellas that intersperse between each book. And our next novella that we have coming out this summer is a sapphic novella set on a cruise ship that has like an unofficial tribute to Twilight currently showing
Amazing.
on the cruise ship. I think we called it like The Lion and the Lamb or something like that.
Oh my
Like, it's
God.
just-
Love it.
so yeah, we're both big Twihards.
This is the author you did, Mary. Why am I blanking?
Mary Little Me.
Mary Little Me Cute, Sierra
Yeah.
Simone.
Sarah
my
Simone.
girly.
Yes.
Yeah,
I've
my
been reading
bestie.
Mary Little Me Cute this week, and it is so fucking funny.
Oh my
The
god.
best time.
It's so
I
sexy
mean-
too.
It starts in a Chili's too, so like you can't go wrong with any book that starts in a Chili's too.
Yeah.
So
I
Yeah.
love chilies.
yeah, me too. Give me some Southwest egg rolls, baby.
I love the quesadilla that you can, like the bacon quesadilla. That's good.
That's Ian's. That's his fave.
Yeah. Oh well, Ian and I have something in common. Okay. So when did you start working on Dumplin', and what was that process like? Had the story been cooking all through your 20s? I know we kind of already touched on this, but like, what is the full story of Dumplin'?
Okay, so I sold my first book in 2012, and so that came out in 2014. So I probably sold Dumplin' in 2013 or 2014
Okay.
on proposal. I just had like a really basic concept for like a chubby girl in a beauty pageant. Let's go.
Yeah.
And they bought
Can I
that
ask
concept.
what a proposal is for you? Like, is
Yeah.
that like a long summary? Like, what's
As Christine has
So-
been working on them.
Yeah, let's talk, baby. So for me, it always ranges. I've sold books on like a 5-page document, but early on in my career, a proposal was much more prescriptive and even outlined in my contracts of like what it had to be. I'm sure things have changed in publishing since then, but now I can sell things on. I sell things on, you know. I don't want to say whatever I want, but sometimes I turn in like a 20-page synopsis and like, a 100-page sample. And sometimes I'm like, okay, what if we wrote a book about old people in Palm Springs, which is actually my next adult book.
amazing?
But anyhow, at that time, it was like you had to turn in like a 50-page sample, I think, and like a detailed synopsis. And so that's what a proposal was for me at the time. And what's funny is when I sold Dumplin', the proposal actually started halfway through the book. And I didn't realize it was halfway through the book, not until like we sat down with my editor and she was like, this is great. This isn't the beginning of the story. This is the halfway point of the story. And so I had to go back and really like think about how to build the book around that halfway point that I'd already created. But the idea from Dumplin' came from actually lots of different things. But one of my biggest sources of inspiration, there was a photographer named Richard Avedon, and Owen Wilson's mother was actually his personal assistant for years and years. And Richard Avedon like photographed lots of famous people, but he also did lots of like things that were grittier and felt a little bit more like photojournalism. And there was a museum here in Texas that commissioned him to go out literally into the American West and do like a collection of black and white photographs. And they wanted him to photograph people who were not typically photographed. So he went to prisons, he went to oil rigs, he went to really small county fairs, he went to all these places that were just completely unglamorous. He went to this place in West Texas called the Rattlesnake Roundup, where they literally just like collect tons of rattlesnakes, measure them, gut them, and like turn them into boots, essentially.
Wow.
It's kind of barbaric and disgusting and still goes on. And it's in Sweetwater, Texas. It's very fascinating. I recommend you look it up if you have the stomach to look it up. It's kind of gross, but it's very fascinating. And so like, some of his photographs are like 12-year-old kids like holding up the rattlesnake they found. And like, so they're really interesting photographs. And I saw an exhibition of his photographs when I was pretty young, early on in my 20s. And there was one photograph that always stuck with me. And it was a plus size woman with her niece at a state fair. And her niece was also chubby. And I started thinking, it just always, that photograph just always lived in my head. And I was so broke at the time that I saw this art show, but it was one of the first times that I bought like the actual like art book from like a library museum gift shop. And I remember I was like, I have to buy the paperback one because I'm so poor. And this is like a $70 book, but I have to own this. And so if you know Dumplin', it's really like the genesis of that story is really Willa Dean and her aunt Lucy. And I started thinking about those two women and what it might feel like to be the only plus size women in your family, and how alienating that could feel, but also how unified you might feel with the other women in your life. And also, I am like, I'm not having children. I am an eternal aunt. And I think that bond that you have as an aunt is a really interesting and specific bond, because you feel so close to the children in your life and you feel such ownership over them. But at the same time, it's like, it's a little bit of a bittersweet thing because they'll never be totally yours, you know? And so Dumplin' started out as a lot of different things, and it took a while to get to like that super fun, campy like thing that it is now. But there's a real emotional backbone of Dumplin' that started with that photograph.
Wow, that's so cool.
The whole story
like
just
such a
stemmed
fun
from
backstory. I mean,
a photograph.
it's an in-depth backstory that I wasn't expecting at all, and I love it.
Well, there you go. There you go.
Rattlesnake carcasses.
I know. I am obsessed with the town of Sweetwater, so I highly recommend looking into that.
Town.
Yeah, it is.
Wow. I didn't know that whole story. New things I'm learning.
There you go.
This is kind of like a hard left. We didn't
Let's
ask
go.
you your favorite fandoms yet. So we have
Oh my
Twilight.
gosh.
What are your
Okay.
other fandoms?
Twilight. Oh my gosh, I'm completely blanking on everything right now. I mean, I'm a big Raylo girly. I'm a big Hermione girly.
Yeah, that's why we're friends.
Nice.
Yeah. So those are really big for me. I also like, I don't know that it's a fandom, but like the show Skins is like hugely formative for me. I mean, I was a Buffy kid growing up, like forever Team Spike. Yeah, there's a handful. I mean, of course, like everyone else my age, like Harry Potter was a big deal, but I also loved like Percy Jackson, and like I was older when I discovered these books. Like I was like in my early 20s, but like Percy Jackson, literally anything Holly Black has ever written. But I really loved the Spiderwick Chronicles too. Like in my 20s, I really loved those. So yeah, a little bit of everything. Can Mulan be a fandom? That's also like my favorite.
Yes.
Disney movie of all time.
Me too.
So, yeah.
That's Christine.
Yeah.
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 I was at my
Most
niece's
empowering.
talent show. It is. I was at my niece's talent show the other day, and a girl played Be a Man on the piano, and she's in like elementary school, and I was jamming so hard to like Be a Man on the piano. This little girl, like a little bit out of tune. I was
Yes.
like, Be a Man.
That song just takes over. When it
Yeah.
comes on, I
I
morph
know.
into someone
I know.
else.
Like, I think I can do martial arts. Like, I think I can like save the world. Donny Osmond really hit it out of the park with that one.
Yes.
yeah.
I
Yeah.
literally I always talk about this, but I always, when it comes on, want to climb like a big pole with
Yeah.
like those things she uses
Yeah.
to climb it.
Yeah.
Oh my
man.
god.
Yeah.
Yep.
So those
Warrior
are my
mode.
fandoms. I know I'm forgetting some. I love like a lot of obscure British teen TV shows that I'm just forget. Degrassi. Oh my god, how did I forget Degrassi? Yeah, does that even count as a fandom? But yeah.
It counts. Degrassi is
Degrassi.
huge.
Wait,
Yeah.
do you have a like favorite fanfic that you've read of Raylo or Hermione that you can pull out of your head, or is that hard?
I don't know if I can publicly admit to those.
I feel like this is a safe space for the fangirl life.
Yeah. I mean, the auction is great. you know?
Yes, I love the auction.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll leave it there.
Okay.
Yeah.
What is the trope in the auction or like the fandom?
It's
Or
Hermione.
or do you not want to say?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's
Okay.
Hermione.
Cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
Okay, so what are some of your favorite trope genres you like to read or watch?
I think you wrote trope / genres. Like to
Okay.
read.
Okay, so it's not necessarily friends to lovers. It's not enemies to lovers, but friends to enemies to lovers. Like when you've
Oh.
got that like meaty history and then you fucking hate each other.
yeah.
And then oof, it hits so good. I love that. I love let me see. I love like anytime that a book has like a framework, like rules that we can't break or a list that we have to follow, like things like that really work for me. I'm getting like more into like story technique rather than genre
Yeah.
or tropes, but I
A
also
list is so fucking fun.
I know. It's so fun. And I also love, I feel like Julie Soto did this really good with her debut. But I also love when there is a like present day story happening concurrently with like a story in the past. And the way that Julie Soto does it is really great because the female narrator narrates the present day and the male narrator narrates the past.
Love
That's like
that.
heartbreaking and
Wait, which book is
really
that?
so fantastic. Forget Me Not.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah. If you guys haven't read it, like
I haven't.
get off this
gotta get
podcast
on
right now
that.
and go read it.
I
Yeah.
gotta get on that.
Yeah, just sign off. And like I have ADHD and I'm a very slow reader, so if I recommend you a book, it's real. The love is real.
I feel that.
So,
Okay. I'm gonna.
Okay. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't just like willy-nilly like recommend things.
Yeah. That's how I feel about Allie Hazelwood. Like I can just sit and read, and
Yeah,
no one can
yeah.
interrupt me.
Have you read Bride yet?
Yes,
She has.
I read Pride. It's so good.
I think it's my favorite of hers.
Oh, it is for sure my favorite of hers. It
I
was
loved
so
it
good.
so much.
Yeah.
I was like immediately like, give me all the nodding. So of course I had to go out and buy like The Fake Mate. I haven't read it yet, but that's like the next on my list because it also has nodding.
Oh, I explained nodding 2 episodes ago.
She did.
Yeah.
Yep. And it's now
So-
a clip on our Instagram and TikTok.
It is.
Okay.
It is.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah,
I love it.
I was very out of the loop. I had no idea.
Yeah. Well,
Like
now
when you were talking about your favorite thing being like the simultaneous stories here, I was like, the first time I saw that was Holes, and it really changed me.
I love Holes too. That's a great book, you know.
What a great example.
Big Holes fan.
Yeah. Yeah. Big Holes fan out here. I'm not gonna make the dirty joke there that I really want to make, so we'll just leave that on the table. Leave that gun on the mantle.
Would you ever write like a fantasy paranormal thing? You think that's in your future?
I would love to. Okay, so like as like a consumer of stories, I love fantasy and paranormal, and it's what I like really like to gravitate towards in a lot of ways. But I don't know. I think it's one of those things where I feel like you have to be like built different. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
To be
feel
that kind
that.
of writer. And I really want to be that writer. I just don't know if I'll ever be that writer. So
I feel like
maybe
that's
someday.
one of those things that you were talking about, though. Like you're never ready, but you just gotta
Yeah.
like dedicate and commit to
It's
it.
true. It's true.
Yeah.
Like I've written like a middle grade with a little bit of fantasy. I've written like a little bit of things that have like light fantasy. But like would love to explore it more if I could. If I ever have the time and I'm not on 3 deadlines at once.
That's like, Christine, your books are kind of like that. They're like contemporary.
Yeah,
but with
well,
like
I feel
light
that
fantasy.
same way though. Like everyone's always asking me, like, you love fantasy. Why aren't you writing fantasy? And I'm like, because I like don't want to make a whole world. I just want to live in this one.
Yeah.
I'll put like a drop of magic, and that's enough for me. Like I don't
Yeah.
want to create the magic system right now.
It's intense. It's really intense. So
I
we'll
feel
see.
like I would do it like how Allie did it with Bride. Like
Yeah.
that felt contemporary enough, but also with like some spicy fantasy, paranormal in there. Yeah.
Yeah.
I would love that.
I've been
Write a book, Natasha. Do it.
Yeah, I have been ruminating on all these different things for a long time. It's gonna happen.
she has.
I've probably got another year and it's gonna start, okay?
We're excited.
Okay. Well,
We're waiting.
just know that you just have to start at some point.
I know.
Yeah.
I just gotta start.
All right.
Okay.
I'm going to redirect us here because I want to talk about the journey of Dumplin from book to movie here because I know it can be like really mentally taxing to go through that whole process. Can you talk about the experience and how much of a hand you had in the process and how it felt going through the whole journey? Because I know it's like everything's so fickle in Hollywood. You never know what's going to happen the whole time. What was it like for you?
Yeah, I was really hesitant to give up the rights to Dumplin when the time came, actually, because Hollywood likes to make movies about people who are so untraditionally attractive that are just super hot and normal looking. And okay, the cliff notes of the Dumplin film story is we originally sold the rights to Disney, actually. And so I really loved the exec I was working with at Disney, but I very blatantly told him, like, you will not make a movie about a fat girl without a fat girl in it. And it was sort of one of those moments on a phone call where everyone was like a little bit quiet because no one knew if they could say the word fat. And early days, guys, early days. And so it stayed with Disney for a while, and they hired on a whole team, like a producer and a screenwriter that I really loved. And then one day I got a call that the rights had expired, the rights had lapsed, and Disney was focusing on remaking all of their original content essentially, and they weren't looking for original content anymore. And I was so bummed. And then like 10 minutes later I got a call from my screenwriter and the producer, and they were like, well, Disney cut you loose, which means they cut us loose too, but we really want to continue on this process and see if we can find a new home for this or make it independently. And the really good life-changing news is that our screenwriter, Kristen Hahn, who is a dear friend of mine now, is also best friends with Jennifer Aniston. And Jennifer Aniston loves this project, and she wants to make it happen. And with a name like that attached, we can actually get funding. And so I owe a lot to Jen, and she's really the reason why we were able to get someone to financially back us. We made the movie independently, which did mean I was able to be involved. It also meant that we were on a very tight budget and a very tight timeline. it was like a 30-day shoot, maybe a little bit more, 35 days or something.
Wow.
It happened very quickly. And I got to spend quite a bit of time on set. There were arguments we had. There were things I was so pissed that they cut from the script, or even like little wording changes that happened that I was so irritated by. But in the end, it still became a movie I could be proud of. Like, is it an exact replica of the book? No. Should it be? No. But it's still something that, like, even to this day, I can look back and feel good about, which most authors I know who have worked in Hollywood don't have that experience. So it was really positive in that regard, and I can fight with those people like they're my family. So that's one good thing I can say. Like, have we screamed at each other? Yes. Have we cried at each other? Yes. But have we also like celebrated something that felt impossible? Like, you know, a real movie on Netflix with a plus size girl in it. Yeah, we did get to do that too. So
that's why it's so good, because you guys did it independently. I didn't know that. Wow.
Yeah, I didn't know that either.
Yeah,
really cool.
we didn't have anyone really breathing down our neck other than a really great financier who was really trusting of the whole production team. And I mean, it was like when I got on the set, so many of the crew and were coming up to me and just being like, you have never been on a movie set, but you should know that they don't all feel like this. And this feels different. And we all feel like we're making something special. And so often all of us come on to a set and it's just a job. And this movie is not just a job for us. So everyone was extremely passionate about it. So many of the people who I met and the crew I've like kept in touch with, and we're friends on Instagram, and I get to see their kids growing up and like see them working on like Fast and Furious movies and like ridiculous fun things. So that it was a special experience. It wasn't perfect. It wasn't uncomplicated, but between Jennifer Aniston and Dolly Parton, like those were like our two like angels. Like we couldn't have made it without Jen. We couldn't have made it without Dolly.
How did you get Dolly?
Jen. Once we had a name like, so I guess a lot of people had been bringing Dolly my book at concerts and things like that and meet and greets. And so she had several copies of the book. And by the time Danny, he's like her everything guy, her producer, or like not producer, but like her manager, her, like, if you want to get to Dolly, you got to go through Danny. He's really sweet. But by the time we got through to Danny, Dolly was like, I've heard of this book. I've got this book on my shelves. And
That's so cool.
Yeah. And so originally, we said, Dolly, can we, have access to your catalog? We don't have much money, but this is what we can offer you. And she was like, yeah, I would love to write an original song too. And then months later, Dolly came back with a whole album that was like covers and original music and was like collaborations with people.
Oh, my Lord.
Gosh.
Like, I think I'm very proud of the movie, but like the album is something that like I literally have to put into a different file in my brain.
Yeah, that
because
happened.
it's not real to me at all. And she's one of those people that you meet her and she's just like you would expect for her to be, and just as you would hope for her to be when no one is around and no one is, there to record her or, make sure that she's like still being on brand. Like, she's Dolly Parton. She's just that person all the time. She does her own makeup everywhere she goes. She carries around her own little powder. I was sweating during an interview we did. She took out her powder and powdered my nose. I know. She's an angel and she's perfect, and we're all blessed to be able to live in the same timeline as Dolly Parton. That's a scientific miracle.
Oh,
that's so cool.
Wow.
Damn.
Yeah.
Now that you've had all of those experiences through your career as a writer, how has the demand for stories featuring plus size characters evolved? Do you see a growing acceptance and appreciation for diverse body representation in literature now?
I do see like a growing acceptance for it, but I feel like I'm still waiting to see a publisher or a production company get behind something and be really excited about it in a way that a project deserves. So I think that it's more widely accepted. Like no one's going to blink an eye at someone saying the plus size character is or the main character is plus size, especially in publishing. But I still really want to see like a publisher or, a studio just create like an entire budget and like a project that they're really passionate about and excited about. So I still want to see like the next big breakout, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And there's so many things that have come to fruition since then that have deserved to be that breakout that haven't yet been. And maybe I'm forgetting certain projects here and there, but like I feel like we deserve like the next big thing,
As far as like having like a plus size person.
Yeah, like a plus size main character in a book or in a movie or a TV show or something like that. Like I want to see more. I want to see bigger.
It's like the only thing I've really read, and I don't know if I'm trying to seek things out, but it's like Olivia Dade's like spoiler alert, like that whole like series, really, and then there was like something on Netflix. It was like a TV show, something like.
Oh yeah, I remember what you're talking
It wasn't
about.
very good.
Was
I don't know. I just want, you're
What
right.
I mean.
It's like, I just want more. I just want more, better,
Yeah.
authentic stories about plus size people.
And people are out there creating it. Like, we don't have we need more creators. We need more plus size creators, but like people are excited to make those stories. We just need the platform for them. So I think that my biggest fear with Dumplin' is it'll be something that people look back on and they're like, we had the plus size movie. Remember? We had the plus size movie.
Yeah.
We had the plus size book. And it filled that slot. And I never want Dumplin' to just be the one thing we refer back to. I always want there to be more. I want to become irrelevant. You know what I mean? Like that's what I want. I want Dumplin' to be archaic. I want us to have moved so far beyond Dumplin' that it's just like,
Yeah.
it's sort of like a Lord of the Rings kind of thing where it's like, like I have so many friends who are huge fantasy junkies and never read Lord of the Rings and went back later in life and read Lord of the Rings and were disappointed by it.
Yes.
Because they had read so much of this fantasy that was inspired by Lord of the Rings. And that's what I want for Dumplin'. I want someone to have read so much fiction with plus size protagonists in it and seen so many movies and books that they go back to Dumplin' and they're like, what's the big deal?
Oh,
Like, that's what I want.
I love that. Yes. No, I wish we could have that.
nice.
Oh, someone in your chat did say Shrill from Lindy West, and I want to say that the book and the show I really love, and Dietland, if you've never read Dietland or watched Dietland.
I think this is relevant too to like the conversation we've been having, but like were there any specific challenges that you've faced through publishing about your protagonist being plus size at the start of your career, and has that evolved now?
Yeah, I mean, even like early on, HarperCollins was terrified to use the word fat in any kind of official copy. They thought it was going to be really big turnoff to people. I know, and I say this, like I've been at HarperCollins since 2012. I publish other places too, but HarperCollins is really like a home base for me. And I understand why they were scared, because it's an alienating word, and it especially was then. So there were so many people who would see the word fat, and even if they were fat, refuse to refer to themselves in that way. Thinner people would see it and immediately feel like, oh my God, that's so rude. That's so horrific. I would never call someone fat.
Yeah.
And so as much as like I wanted to like run through a wall like the Kool-Aid man or the High C man or whoever runs through a wall with the word fat, I knew that like we had to be strategic about how we talked about fat and bodies and body positivity. So that and those conversations were really difficult to have because I was still formulating how I wanted to feel about it myself. Not only feel about it, but then I had to figure out how I was going to publicly talk about it. And so that was really difficult. Thankfully, there was a fat girl on the cover from day one. That like iconic Dumpling cover, the black cover with like the red silhouette. That was something that we had from the very beginning. And the cover designer is an actual genius and won so many awards for that. And I know that like now we're seeing still like all these like sort of like covers that look like that. Like they've got like that like 2D sort of you know, I can't remember what they're called.
Silhouette?
Like kind of like
That's
silhouettes, things like that.
Vector art or something?
Vector art, yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lot of vector art out there now, and like, not to be like we started it, but really that cover
did.
designer,
Yeah.
That cover was amazing.
that cover designer was like
Iconic.
a visionary, and it really did. Like, you know, of course other people are doing the same things at the same time. Like that's what makes a trend. But she was one of the ones who really did it right from the start and thankfully got some really good acknowledgement for it. So that was a good thing from the beginning. But, you know, when that book came out and when it started to take off, there was, of course, like just the constant like barrage of hate and hate mail, or going to a university and some smart ass professor standing up during the Q&A saying, how does it feel to, you know, just continue to add to the obesity epidemic? Like things like that I was not prepared for, you know? So yeah, a lot of learning on my feet over the years.
Yeah, you're like literally such a trailblazer in this. I don't know if you feel that way, but I think you are. And you featured like so many amazing plus size protagonists throughout like different age ranges. If you're watching the video right now, you can see Julie has her books behind her, and she's even has, you know, Chubby Bunny behind you. So, and it's been so important for myself and for other plus size people, young women especially. Have you been able to feel the weight of that impact that you've made on people? Like, do you have a specific special experience that stands out that you've had with a reader?
So something I have to figure out how to deal with in therapy, and is like forever my like my Roman Empire in therapy, is like how emotionally distant I am from the present. And so there have been so many incredible experiences, and so many times people have come up to me and said things that were truly meaningful that took me years to metabolize what people were saying to me and understand what it meant for them. And I think a lot of that is because like so many people feel like they grew up with Dumpling, and I do too. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, like, yeah, so it's a really weird thing, because like a lot of the feelings that people have about the experience of reading Dumpling, I have about the experience of writing it, and not only writing it, but sharing it with other people, because I don't want to say I'm not a friendly person, but I am an extreme introvert. I don't have a lot of in-person friends. I don't leave my house unless I have to, or unless it's to go travel somewhere fun that I want to see, or you know, be with people that I want to be with. And so it was the first time that I had a community experience like that, where there were so many people at one time who felt the same way that I did. But by far, some of the most like impactful and important memories that I have, especially in like the heyday of Dumpling, is when I would hear from mothers or parents who saw their children reading Dumpling and decided to pick it up for themselves, and have said that it helps them reframe the way that they talked about their own bodies in front of their kids. And I love my mom. My mom's my best friend, but like my mom is blonde hair, blue eyes. Like my mom went to Woodstock in 1969. She was a gorgeous hippie with like blonde hair down to her ass. And she thought she was horrific, like absolutely a troll when I was a kid. And she was stunning. And like, who amongst us does not have this memory of the women in our lives when we're children, of them just standing in front of a mirror, pinching at like rolls and fat that doesn't exist. And like, I was a literal meatball of a child. Like I probably had a mustache or something at like the age of like 9, you know? So like, I couldn't fathom that my mom could be ugly, because if my mom was ugly, what did that make me? because I was
Yeah.
far from anything that looked like her. And so that is something that has lived with me for a very long time. And hearing that Dumplin got, like, for some people has been like a turning point moment for people in their relationship with their children is just like I have a lot of feelings about never having kids. I have chosen to never have kids, but that is like a really exciting thing to be a part of in a
Yes.
child's life.
Yeah,
And even if I don't have kids of my own, like, it's really cool that I get to take part in that in some kind of way. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's making me emotional. Like, yeah, I mean, even though you don't have kids, you don't get to have, like, there's maybe not that experience, but how many other people have you impacted with your stories is just really cool and really
Yeah.
special
Yeah.
and not something
It is.
many people can have or do.
Yeah. I don't take it for granted at all.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I feel like we get that. We feel that, like, that feeling from the internet a lot too, because
Yeah.
both of us are like almost 30. No, I mean, Natasha's almost 30. I'm in my 30s. No kids, but like I feel like so many young people we've interacted with and had such great experiences through like creating stuff online. So
yeah.
yeah.
It's
Yeah.
wild.
The close is very powerful. I had a best friend as a kid who was thin and beautiful, and her mom was constantly pinching her skin, telling her she was getting
Yeah.
fat and needed to diet. I was her chubby friend, and it always made me wonder, what must you guys think of me if you're judging her?
Yeah.
Girl,
It's wild.
everyone. We all have
Yeah.
these
Yeah.
experiences.
I mean, I feel like the generation above us was so intensely fat phobic constantly, and there's just like ingrained in them
Yeah.
to like shit on themselves constantly. And
I mean, for like the women, the adult women in my life, like for so many of them, the most interesting thing that they would talk about was what diet they were on. Like that was like,
yes,
like the way that I talk about Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce, those women talked about diets.
that is so
And
real.
I forgot to
God.
mention during my fandom that like Taylor Swift and the Kelce brothers are like a whole ass like facet of my personality. So
Yes.
just gonna throw that in there right now.
Yes, but that was the conversation constantly around me as kids. The women were talking about diets,
Yeah.
yeah, or
all of the fucking diets.
God. Yeah, I mean, and I was put on those fucking diets. Ugh.
Yeah. Yeah.
Ugh.
Okay. Well, now that there's been, we talked about this earlier, been quite a shift in the online world of body positivity with influencers denouncing the term and falling back into the mindset of diet culture with Ozempic on the rise. It's hard out here, y'all. Even clothing brands are dropping their extended size range. Sometimes it can feel hopeless and it's hard. But what are your thoughts on the current state of fat? This is loaded. What are your thoughts on the current
Yeah.
state of fat phobia in our world?
question you're dropping.
Okay. I do feel like it's depressing. We'll start out there.
Yeah.
But I also want to add that like I want for people to have a little bit more of a bird's eye view about this. Anytime something radical happens, a few years later there is going to be a bounce back. And
Yeah.
the culture is going to step back a little bit and try to like reframe itself or
Yeah.
try to find some new sort of equilibrium. But that doesn't mean the conversation that happened ever went away or ever will go away. And so like, do I give a shit if people are on Ozempic? No. Do I think that like, there are plenty of people out there on Ozempic for like actual genuine reasons that need it, whether it's like to lower their blood sugar or,
Need for
whatever it
diabetes,
is,
yeah.
That's fine. Yeah. Do I give a shit if you lose weight? No, I don't, because one of the most beautiful things about fat positivity and body positivity is like body autonomy. Like I want you to be able to do whatever do you want to go put giant booby bags in your boobies? Go do it.
Yeah.
Like I don't care. But I think that for so long I was constantly telling people that like their journey with their own bodies was never going to be linear. It was always going to be up and down. And I think that we have to remember that in this time. Like we might feel like we took 2 steps forward and 2 steps back, but we really didn't. We took like 10 steps forward and maybe we're taking 5 steps back.
Yeah.
But we still have the 5 steps of like ground that we gained. And that does mean that there's going to come a time when we have the opportunity to take another 10 steps, and we'll probably take another 5 steps back at that time. But it's just, these conversations take time. They take, sometimes, as depressing as it is, generations.
Yeah.
And so I don't want people to get discouraged. And I think that anytime someone is spouting extremities, whether it is like everyone get super fat because the only way to be awesome is to be super fat. Oh, I almost lost my microphone. Oh no.
Oh no.
But anytime someone is spouting an extremity, whatever it's about, they're not anyone who's really worth like giving your time to. Everything, especially when it comes to bodies, especially when it comes to how we care for ourselves and our, if you even want to tie it to health and all those things are full of nuance. The answer will never be A or B. It's always going to be like, a full 5-paragraph essay of an answer. So I think that there's a lot of people on the internet getting angry at each other right now. And I would just say, let them get angry. Let people get mad. Let people fight about it. They have to fight about these things.
Yeah.
But also don't get discouraged, because we've made so much progress and there's more to be made.
Yeah. And you're so right about being a generation thing. Like, it is going to take a lot longer, and I think people even anticipate, because there's still so much that has to be taught about, like, even like health and fatness and what that means, and like people just still don't understand, and like there's such a long way to go.
Well, and so many of like the people in my like age category who are about to like hit our 40s, when we were talking about body positivity and fat positivity, we were in our early to mid to late 20s, and bodies are different at that time. So like you can even talk to like the straight size people in your life, and when they're coming up on their 40s, they're having different conversations about their bodies. They're thinking about their bodies in different ways. And so because we were so publicly having all these discussions about body positivity and fat positivity, we're also now publicly having these discussions as we're all like encroaching on like the middle phase of our lives and having to look at our health in a different way and having to prioritize it in a different way, because as you get older, your body gets shittier. That's just the way it goes. No matter how old, no matter how fit you are, your body is meant to age. It is meant to get more difficult to stay alive so that we can make more room for other people on this planet. And so the way you think about your body and how, you have to mentally, emotionally, and physically metabolize that is going to change. So, yeah.
We just trying to live and have fun, y'all.
Yeah.
That's all
yeah.
we're trying to do.
Let me live.
Let me live.
Oh my.
Yeah.
To reel this back to, because I know we're getting a little long. Before we go, I want to ask you, like, what advice you would give to aspiring authors looking to explore themes of diverse body rep in their writing, and then we want to hear about all your upcoming projects and what's in the pipeline
That you can share.
Yeah. Okay. So I do have like some canned writing advice that I give to everyone, but I'm going to go off the beaten path here a little bit.
Nice.
Just for you guys.
Exclusive.
Yeah. So if you want my writing advice that I truly believe in and I give to everybody, it's somewhere on my website. I don't know where, but someone who built my website put it on my website. So it's somewhere on there.
Perfect.
Perfect. That's all you need to know. But I will say, like, don't be scared. Don't live in fear. Don't wait for the moment. Don't wait for the perfect moment. The perfect moment doesn't exist. But also, you have to be good. You have to be good at what you are doing, or no one's going to give a shit what you're saying. So you could have all these grand intentions of writing about like diverse bodies or wanting to make some kind of political statement, but it literally doesn't matter if you can't tell a story. So dedicate as much time to building your craft as you can, because I think that the most difficult thing for a marginalized person is like creating something that is beyond reproach. And so if you can tell an incredible story and someone doesn't want to give that a platform or like create an avenue for you to share that story, then we really know what the problem is, don't we? It's not your story. It's the fact that these people are like fat phobic or racist or whatever it is. So write a badass story. Like, you know, of course, like pay attention to the diversity that you're wanting to build into your story, but remember why you like books and why you like stories to begin with, and write to that.
Yeah.
And then the rest will fill in. Yeah.
I love that.
Right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot harder
Okay.
for those to get their stories out.
It's not easy. It's not easy. Okay, what else was I supposed to
Projects.
What is coming down the pipeline for you right now?
Pipeline. Okay, so I have the sequel to my middle grade that's coming out in the summer. It's called Camp Sylvania Moon Madness, and Camp Sylvania is a fat camp book with vampires, and this is the sequel to that. So
Got those vampires in there.
I know. I essentially was obsessed with the movie Heavyweights as a child and as a teen. And so I was like, I want to write this, but with vampires. And so that will be out in May, I think. And then we'll have a novella for our Christmas Notch series with Sierra Simone coming out in July for Christmas in July. We'll have the third book in that series, A Jingle Bell Mingle, coming out in September. And it does have a plus size heroine in it. And she's super funny and hilarious and is obsessed with Capri Sun. Because I am obsessed with Capri Suns. And then next year I have a really full slate of things that I haven't announced yet, but I'm releasing a book in a brand new to me category. So I have picture books, I have middle grade, I have, romance, all these different things. But this is a new category for me, which I'm really excited about. I've always said that like my career goal is that you can read Julie Murphy from cradle to grave, which is a little morbid, but we're getting there. So,
Nice. Oh my God.
that's coming, and lots of fun stuff coming next year. And I also have an adult romance coming out next summer that there's no title for because no one can agree on the title.
Oh.
I know the title.
Oh my
they just won't let me have it. So,
Oh,
yeah.
is it spicy?
Damn.
It is a little spicy. Yeah. So I'm excited. Yeah.
Okay.
Nice. Oh my God, you have so many projects.
Wait, but you also
That feels
just
so overwhelming.
announced a new company too.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So my company is called Bittersweet. It's been in the works for over 2 years now. And so for those who don't know what packaging is, it is a packaging company, which in publishing essentially means that we are a company who comes up with a concept and we build an entire story. We come up with an entire marketing plan, and then we go out and find a writer to match to that concept and that plan. And then with the writer, we then sell the project. So it's a lot more of like a group project than publishing typically is. And I fell in love with, I really don't like people, but I really fell in love with working with people on a creative endeavor when I started screenwriting a little bit, and I found out how much I loved like the constant feedback and like how much
Camaraderie.
how much camaraderie you had in a setting like that. And so that's why I started Bittersweet. And so I'm really excited. We just announced our first project called Recommended Reading that will be out next spring.
Oh.
And
Nice.
it's so
Congratulations.
sweet. Thank
That's
you.
so cool.
It's about a plus size boy who works in a bookstore and can has a recommendation for literally any season of your life. Like, did you come and you hate your coworker? He has a book for that. Like, do you have to figure out how to make your best friend fall in love with you? There's a book for that. So he can fix everyone's life, and he believes
He's a fixer.
He's a fixer, but he's
in the book world.
yeah. But he's he's written off love, but he's sort of got love walking straight into his bookstore. So yeah.
That sounds so fun.
Yeah. Super cute. So that'll be out next spring with an author of ours named, oh my God, I can never remember how to say Paul's last name. I think it's Paul Kosia. That'll that'll be out.
Oh my
So that's our
gosh.
first project we have releasing. Yeah.
You are so busy, so much on your plate.
You really are.
It's too
Damn.
much. But I have ADHD, so this is a good way to entertain me.
Well, thank you so much, Julie, for being on the podcast. What's your social handle everywhere so that people can follow you? We're gonna have you linked down in the show notes
Yeah.
and in the description. But for people, where can they find you? On your website, on Instagram?
Yeah, so I am essentially and I'm Julie, just about anywhere you look. I was on TikTok for a very long time, and then my TikTok got banned out of nowhere, and no one at any of my publishers can figure out how or why to get it back. So if I ever get
God.
that back, I was and I'm Julie 0. There's lots of weird random impersonators on TikTok too that have that username or similar usernames. So don't follow them. If you ever see me on TikTok, I do have a verified check mark if I'm ever back. But until then, I just lurk on the talk. But otherwise, I'm Julie just about everywhere, and you can find me at my website, juliemurphywrites.com. And if you're interested in Bittersweet Books, we're bittersweet-books.com, or you can find us Bittersweet BKS at Instagram.
Wonderful.
Nice.
Yeah.
Everyone
thanks.
should go follow Julie if you're not already. Like Natasha said, all her socials are linked in our show notes. Pre-order her upcoming projects. There's so many. Oh my gosh. We'll have some of those linked too. And thank you so much for hanging with us, Julie. We know you're so busy and sharing your wisdom. Like, you had so much amazing things. So many
Y'all are the
amazing things to
best.
say.
This was so much fun. I just want to hang out with you guys in
I
person.
know. We're all going to Romance Con.
Are we?
Yeah.
We are. Oh my
We
God.
need to do a panel at
So-
Romance Con or something.
Well,
we want you.
we were going to ask you to be on our
Yeah. Don't even ask me. Just put me there. Yeah. Perfect. I'm in. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So we're all going to be
Oh my
at
gosh,
Romance
I love
Con.
it.
We're all going to be hanging out in
Yay.
person. We're very excited
Okay.
about that.
Can't
Yeah, it's
wait.
going to be so fun.
Oh my gosh. I just have to say, I texted, she was the first author I texted when we started this podcast. And then I finally was like, hey, can you be on the
2 years
podcast
later.
now?
Oh my God. I'm so excited. I was so excited for this. Like, you two are adorable. Like, I don't know. Anyone who's ever seen me and Sierra out in public knows that, like, we are all about the best friend energy. Every scary thing is better with your best friend. So I love seeing you two doing this together. And I think it's just like, can we just glamorize like female friendships more and more,
Yeah.
please? Because this is fun. This is great. Like, this is what I am here for. So
Yeah, we
guys
have
are
a
the
good
best.
time. We would love to
Yeah.
have you back
Yeah.
anytime you want to be back and hang
yeah.
out.
Oh
There's
my
so
God.
many more
We should
things that we
come
could talk
back
about.
with- Yeah, I have to come back with Sierra because she is a Hermione hoe.
Oh,
Like, if
shit.
you think that I loved Hermione, that girl is unhinged. So,
Oh my God.
yeah. So we got to come back.
Oh
All
my
right. I love you guys a ton.
Nice.
Love you.
Thank you so much. Love you. That was so great.
Yeah.
I'm so glad Julie could come on. We are going to now roll into our classic TFF segments. We've got Snack Crackle Pop Culture News. We've got What Right Now. But before that, I'm going to take a quick second and thank all of y'all for being here right now. We love our listeners. And if you're not already following us on your favorite podcast listening app, we would love it if you followed us for free there so you never miss an episode. If you don't know, this is a listener supported podcast and we have a Patreon, and on that Patreon we have 3 different tiers, and the $5 tier is called Team Jacob, and if you become a Team Jacob patron, you can get the show ad free. You can also come to the recordings and be in the chat, be a part of the conversation, and you get access to our extra show after every single episode called Fangirl Tea Time, which is half an hour of extra content where we dig into more personal stories. There is a Fangirl Tea Time at the end of every single episode on the Patreon. So that's a ton of new content since this is episode 66. And we offer a free trial for that. So you can try it out for 7 days, see if you like it. And before committing to the being a patron and yeah, like I said, there's a free trial, or there's an annual subscription where you can subscribe annually and save 16%, which is like a month and a half worth of Patreon subscription if you subscribe for the year instead of month to month. There's so many fun things over there. Check out the other tiers and the other perks. The link is in our show notes. All right. Snap Crackle pop culture news this week. The first thing I have down is Poor Things is now out on Hulu. So I'm going to be watching that ASAP.
Right before the Oscars.
Right before the Oscars. Well, as this is airing, the Oscars have already aired.
Damn.
So we're behind. We're behind. Yeah. We're going to have to be talking about the Oscars next week.
Christine's like, we're going to miss the Oscars. I'm like, well, it's their fault. They put it on my birthday weekend. Sorry.
I know. It's like, we're not going to be able to talk right after. Oh my God.
Guys, I am going, if you follow me on Instagram, I'm going to like the TikTok official creator watch party. I have never done anything like this for like the Oscars. I'm so excited. I got some very fancy dresses sent to me because I'm like, I'm currently working on a wedding dress. I can't just shift and make something real quick because, again, birthday weekend, family's in town. I'm excited, though. This will be fancy. I'm very excited for a fancy night.
I'm excited to see your dresses and all the pics. Mm-hmm. There's a huge thing that dropped yesterday, though. Twilight is going to be an animated TV series is the rumor that is very strong. Deadline reported on it. The reboot supposedly is supposed to be animated. And this came as such a shock to the system. A lot of people, I mean, again, this doesn't necessarily, it's not going to mean it's going to be like bad or anything, but a lot of people love Twilight and they love like the actors, like the hot actors.
Mm-hmm. I don't know how to feel. Like Nicole says, I don't even know how to feel about it. I'm just still in shock.
Yeah, me either.
I think after watching some like animated stuff, like with Alex and doing anime, I think like ACOTAR would be really great animated, like a fantasy show. I swear when you already have like it in human form with live action actors.
I don't want it to be
Here's the
animated.
thing.
I just don't feel as connected to animated shows.
No, I don't either. And like if I think about it, like the animated shows that I do watch, I would probably reference the Disney Plus shows, like What If, which are really good, but I still like don't feel a kinship to those whatsoever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I watched the Harley Quinn show on Max and it was really good, but like it kind of just like floats away from me really quickly because I'm not as mentally tapped in.
And there's the Invincible one on Amazon, again, very good, but I'm also like not chomping at the bit to like watch the next season.
Yeah, I mean, Abby says Spider-Verse is the best animated story ever. And Spider-Verse is a movie, though. There's like, I don't know, I have a different thing. It's a different mindset when I'm watching an animated movie versus TV show. I don't know why it's so hard for me to like want to watch an animated show nowadays. Like, I obviously watched and loved Avatar. I think that's the only animated show I've watched in recent time that I've felt really connected to. And I've had, like, that took some time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, a lot of people.
I don't want ACOTAR to be animated.
No, I don't want it either.
Please no.
Like Laura said, A Darker Shade of Magic would be a good animated show. The color palettes, even Six of Crows could be good.
I want it not animated.
I don't want it to be animated. All right.
I just like romance. I don't like it animated. Like, I don't feel it.
I agree with that.
Much.
Alex kept trying to make me watch different anime shows, and he's like, "Do you like this one?" I'm like, "No." Do you like this one? No. So you're not gonna get me to like it. I can tell you that.
I mean, I'm obviously gonna watch the
Well,
Twilight
yeah, I'll obviously support it.
animated series,
but
we'll be talking about it every week.
I'm gonna be annoyed.
But yeah, I really would love to have a live action Twilight show. I know what they're doing. I feel like they're going to lean into it being like more comedic with a animation. That's what it feels like to me, at least. Because like people love the campiness of Twilight. So why not like lean in and make a campy animation?
Yeah. So Abby said that when they made that graphic novel for Twilight, I feel like I really like that vibe. And then Laura said I feel like Twilight would be better anime style than regular animation. It's the thing. Like I love anime movies, but not an anime show. Okay.
I just don't like animated things. I want it to be real life. I'm having trouble with it. I know it could be really good. Like that's what I'm trying to like establish in my head because I know there are really good animated shows. I just want to see the show. I want to see a real show. I want to see a Vampire Diaries that's Twilight. Like I want to see that.
Yeah, and I want to see all the stories. Like Gabby said, I want to see new stories.
Yes.
Carlisle and Volturi. Yeah, how fucking good would that be?
Yeah. I know. Carlisle's romance with Arrow.
I feel like what they should do is that they should make a live action show and then they should do like a little offshoot of the show, just like Star Wars does, with like we have The Mandalorian, which is live action, we have Boba Fett, which is live action, Ahsoka, which is live action, and then they have their animated shows that go along with it that also come out on Disney Plus. Like I feel like they should have their hero show as live action, and then they should have Carlisle and the Volturi. That's a live action story. Like those type of things, or we follow one of
That would be cool, but we'd have to create like a dynasty.
for sure, and it would take time, and I feel like they're rushing into
Yeah.
this, and I feel like they have a huge fandom. They need to do it right or else it's gonna die.
Sorry. Yeah, it's stressing me out a little bit. I mean, I would love that. I don't see them doing it unless they first have a very successful show. And I feel like a very successful show is not going to be the animated version. It's very rare that an animated show gets so big that it's so successful that they'll do a live action
Truly.
something else. Like Avatar is a unicorn, the Last Airbender. Like it's so cool that it's getting a live action and it got a movie and it got so many things based off of like an animated TV show. So I don't know. I am hesitant. All right. Today in Taylor Swift news, I bought the Black Dog version of the Tortured Poets Society, the Tortured Poets Department, the Tortured Poets Department. Taylor and Sabrina have been in Singapore, and I have seen like literally nothing about these shows. Have you?
No, I've seen a few things from Sabrina, but that's about it.
Yeah, only the official people. I haven't seen any clips or anything.
Yeah.
I'm just like, why? I feel like when they were in Australia, I was like basically there. I'm like, what's happening over there? Give me the
Why
news.
isn't TikTok or
Give me the
Twitter
clips.
feeding us what's happening?
Yes, I know.
Same thing when they were down in South America. I was like, I'm there.
Yeah, same. Yeah. We every night. So I guess maybe the time difference is so big, and I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know, but I feel out of the Taylor Swift
As-
loop. Like, where are you, girl?
As Julie was talking about seeing Twilight in theaters 20 times, I was like, oh,
Yeah.
you know, now I get why Christine is buying all these things. Taylor Swift is her Twilight of her 30s.
Yes, it is.
And I'm like, I love Taylor too, but I'm at that. I'm like big fan, but I'm not like super mega Twilight crazy must camp out fan.
Yes, I am that for her. Okay, Natasha, what do you have for us
have
here?
my own big news, y'all. So
Huge
news. This is huge. I soft launched this on Tea Time last week or 2 weeks ago. I am putting on a ball here in LA. So it's going to be a romance ball. It's not going to be heavy on the fantasy. It's going to be light on the fantasy, more romantasy, possibly. And I'm doing it with my friend Jasmine. So couple months ago, she came to me. She's like, "Hey, this venue really wants to put on a ball. Like, would you be interested in helping me?" And I said, "Yes, of course. Like, that sounds fun." I used to put on events all the time for my old company that I worked for, Amaryllis. They were the most exhausting things in my entire life, so I was a little hesitant. Um, it's like if I always explain to them, like, events are like if you went to Disneyland all day long and like didn't stop and like barely ate. That's what an event felt like. But this one's for me, and I'm very excited. It is officially called the Lovesteria Ball. The company will be called Lovesteria, and then hopefully if this one goes well, we're going to do some more. The goal is to do a vampire ball, a vampire masquerade ball. And like during the fall. It's coming quick, guys. This is June 20th through the 21st or 20. Yeah. So there's going to be 2 nights of balls. So we'll have a ball on Friday night, and then Saturday during the day at the venue, we're going to have a little book fair. And then Saturday night, we'll also have a ball. So there's going to be a mega ticket, which we haven't launched yet. That's like a VIP for all the event. There's a VIP ticket that's $400, and then there's a general ticket that is $150. And I'm gonna have author guests there. And I realized we were still recording. Christine's gonna be there. She's the only one officially announced. Because she's my best friend.
It's like, meet our authors.
And I'm gonna reach out to a few big ones. So we'll see. They're gonna be
Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed. They're gonna be there all weekend, so they'll be at the first ball, the book fair. I will also have vendors and tables open. I think about 11 to 13 tables for vendors. So if you have a small shop and you want to come and sell your stuff, we will have that available. And also, if you're an indie author and you want to come, it's going to be really fun. It's going to be pretty intimate. It can't fit like a whole bunch of people. So there will be a lot of mingling and having fun. And I'm just really, really excited. We're also going to have a hotel attached. So if you're coming in town, I know a lot of girls are talking about looking at flights right now in the chat. We'll have a block of hotels for you guys to get. But I'm very excited. I'm trying to do some really special things. I've got some really great connections. I'm trying to work with Netflix. We'll see. It's the weekend after Bridgerton comes out, so you never know what I can do. Sometimes I can make magic work.
Yes. We're all very excited. I also have a huge announcement. I have a book coming out May 21st. Yeah, called Attached to the Hip.
Woo!
It's about a month before the ball.
Yes, it is a month before the ball.
And there are events that will be happening. I'm just waiting to announce them.
Very exciting.
I'm very excited, so the book is coming out May 21st. It's available for pre-order now. Pre-orders are very important. I'm actually going to run through the things that you can do to help the book launch if you're interested, because it's been a little bit. But if you haven't pre-ordered it, that's so important to my launch of this book and my author career. So if you're interested in supporting that, I'd really appreciate pre-order. You can pre-order in any form you want. So you pre-order digital, audiobook, anywhere you like to read. There's a pre-order available. Brittany Presley is doing the audiobook. She did the audiobook for Again But Better, and she was Jamie's voice in Better Together. She's amazing, so funny. I'm so excited to hear her audiobook version of Attached to the Hip. And so you can do that. You can request it at your library, either your library app or your local library. That's super, super helpful, and that's free. You can add it on Goodreads onto your TBR. That is really helpful. If you have read an ARC, reviewing it on the different platforms on Goodreads. I don't think you can review on Amazon and stuff, but when the book comes out, reviewing it if you like it, also really helpful, because the algorithms on these sites work off of how many people review the book a lot of the time, and then it pushes it to more people.
Mhm.
Anyway, I'm really excited. I hope to see a lot of you at the different events that I get to do. I'm so excited to see readers in person. There was no tour for Better Together, so I didn't get to see anybody's beautiful faces IRL. Well, I guess we did 2 events for Better Together back last year, but like that was after it had come out. So it's just gonna be so exciting to launch it and be able to like go see humans who are just reading it. Yeah, so there will be an event in LA that's confirmed. I think I'm just gonna say on the 22nd, because I feel like LA is so busy and there's always so much going on. So if you're in the LA area, the 22nd of May is the LA event.
Yes.
Yeah. So the tour dates, well, we have tour dates at all. Yeah, I mean, like the tour will start on the 21st, and that is, and then the second event is in LA at the Rips Bodice
Yes.
at 7 p.m. on the 22nd of May. The other event's going to be up in the Pacific Northwest, the one on the 21st. Yeah. All right. Yeah, and then there's other ones, but I will announce as we like get more confirmations.
So exciting. I will be there.
I'm so excited. Yeah, Natasha is moderating the LA one, so it's gonna be super fun.
Mhm.
We're pumped.
Everyone better
yeah.
invade the Rip Bodice.
Invade.
It's so small. Like it's
I mean, it's actually like they move everything for the event, so they
yeah.
have all the chairs going
That's
all the way
true.
back. Yeah. So, Fangirl Army, rise up. Yeah. Oh my God, I'm excited. All right, so I think that's all our
Yeah.
news. Do you have anything else,
all
Natasha?
those links are going to be in
We're
the
gonna-
show notes.
yes.
Lovestyria.com. Yeah.
Yes,
think-
hit up Lovestyria.
Laura said, I want to watch Lovestyria grow right over my bare feet.
Yes, I saw.
I definitely created the word because I love the word wisteria, and I was like, Lovestyria. I was like, this is fucking fantastic. I made this word.
Yes, and I love that it sounds like hysteria
Yes.
too.
Fangirl hysteria.
And it looks so pretty. Like the website, Natasha sent me this website. She's like, Jasmine just made this today. And I'm like, this looks amazing. What?
I know. It's so pretty. I'm very excited. All right.
Yeah.
Moving on.
All right.
What right now?
What's right now? Natasha, what have you been reading?
I have been reading Hellbent
Mm.
by
And?
Lee Bardugo. I've actually not really been listening to it a bunch because I've had people here helping me with making the dress. And then at night I've been switching to Attached at the Hip to read with my eyes.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh yeah, I forgot you have a really
I
old
know, I need
version.
the
I have to
new
send you a new
version.
one.
I was like reading it last night. I was like, I need the new version.
Yeah, and Natasha was like, I'm on this chapter. I was like, oh, that chapter doesn't exist anymore.
I was like telling her, she's like, oh, that's not there. I'm like, oh, okay.
It's just gone. That's a good. I really liked that chapter. So if I ever like release a deleted scene,
Yeah,
I'm
I
gonna
was so angry
release it.
reading it. I was like, oh.
Yeah.
Okay, what have you been reading?
Yeah. I've been reading Iron Flame. I am in the second half now. I'm probably at like the 56% mark, I would guess. And yeah, I'm rolling on through. I
Slowly
haven't been
making your way
filming
through.
slowly, but now it's like every night I'm really excited to read it because I'm in it. Like things are going and moving and grooving. And I'm so sad because I've been like the first half I was recording a vlog the whole time, but like the last 2 clips I did, so they're like 20 minutes of me talking about all the stuff that was happening, are muted. Like there's no audio on them because I had my camera on the wrong fucking setting, my new vlogging camera. And I was so sad. Because I don't know what I said anymore, but I remember I was like very into it because like it was when everything started happening, and so I like it kind of made me like I don't want it. I lost so much stuff, but I'm sure maybe as I get more into it again, I'll feel inspired to go back in and record
Abby
some
says,
more.
"Can you hire a lip reader?"
It's also in slow motion. Like I turned it on and it's like.
How do you constantly do this
I'm
on
like,
your new camera?
because the spot where you change it to the slow motion mode and to picture mode is where the on button is on the G7X that I've had for years. So my finger slides right to that spot and clicks it to turn it on, and then we'll click it just all the time when I'm trying to hit it. And so annoying. I have to get used to the new button that is closer in.
Yeah.
So annoying. So I've done that multiple times now. Like when I went to go get House of Flame and Shadow, I filmed that in fucking slow motion the first half, which is why I had to put music until I got in my car with this sticker. Anyway, what have you watched this week?
Oh, I watched Dune 2 and Poor Things.
Jealous.
Yeah, Dune 2 is amazing. Quite a masterpiece. I had lots of thoughts coming out of that film, though I was not prepared. It was really good, and everyone's got to go see it. I want to know if they're going to make a third one. So that's my thoughts. And then Poor Things was fucking weird. Yeah. Entertaining, and I was watching it as I was like trying to finish a corset, and I was like, I looked down for a second, and then Liam's like, "What the heck?" I'm like, "What's happening?" And he would have to explain to me like what happened. It was he's like,
I can't wait to watch
Yeah.
it. Don't spoil it. All right. And I didn't watch any movies, but I finished Mr. and Mrs. Smith, the show on Amazon, and I fucking loved it. I was so into it. It's so good. Highly recommend. I love Donald Glover, and I love the story. It's so real. I feel like I'm watching a real relationship.
Oh, yeah,
and
that's how I feel too.
that's why I love the dialogue. It's so relatable in the things that they're going through and the way that they're acting. Like, it's not like these hyper spies that have been doing it for years. It's like these people who are trained, but like this is their first endeavor doing this. Like this is their first time doing a lot of stuff, and it's so fun watching them figure it out and also navigating their relationship because they've been assigned as Mr. and Mrs. Smith together, but they didn't know each other before this. They're just like automatically in a marriage, and then they like fall into the relationship because of the circumstances, and things are kind of accelerated because of that, like the different stages of being in a relationship. And it's really fun to watch, so I really enjoyed it. I'm still watching Avatar: The Last Airbender, and I just finished Love Is Blind. Kind of a disappointing end to the season, in my opinion, because shit just blew up. It was like a dumpster fire. And like, so like the middle of the season is kind of like the highlight of the season, and the end is kind of like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's what I've been watching. What about you?
Alex and I we started Spy Family up again, and that was when I was talking about how he was trying to get me to watch different animes. It's an anime.
Oh, is that
And
okay.
it is my favorite thing. It's my favorite anime. I can say that because I was like he just put it on, and and he went to bed. I was like, no, I don't want to turn it off. I want to keep watching. It's really
Aw.
cute. It's like this. We follow. It's a spy family, and we follow like a spy. He's an agent, and he has to work this case, and so he needs like a family as cover, and so he adopts like this one girl, and she's super cute and like so funny, and then he like fake marries this woman who he thinks is just like a regular like woman, but she's actually a hired killer
Hitman?
yeah, like a hitman. And they all are keeping all these secrets from each other, and like the little girl can read everyone's mind, so She like knows her dad. Anyways, it's just really cute to see like this family grow and like start to really like each other and all these like fun little scenarios. I think I'm still in the first season. Yeah, Anya. Anya is the little girl's name, and then yeah, his wife is an assassin. So it's real cute.
Nice.
I really like it. So
Sounds
most
fun.
and like someone said, I think Elise said like never ask a guy for like a romance wreck, and it's so true. Like I'm like, Alex, this is so written by a man. Like I can't. Like I know you're trying to make me like this, but it's not working. And most girls like Spy Family, and so that's why I think I like it.
Nice.
Yep.
I'm glad you're enjoying it.
Mhm.
All right, we're gonna move into our last segment, Mary Kisscliff.
Okay, this week I literally just pulled these off of my wall. They're the first 3 posters.
Wow.
So we have the Scottish Highlands, and this could be for Outlander, or this could be for Hogwarts. We have Disneyland, or we have Hobbiton. So what are you going to marry? What are you going to kiss? What are you going to cliff?
I think I'm gonna marry the Scottish Highland.
Mm.
I'm going to kiss Hobbiton and cliff
Disneyland.
Disneyland. Probably. I like the nature areas.
What if you could have Disneyland all to yourself?
I mean, I still wouldn't marry it. And I like Hobbiton, like the idea of visiting it a lot. So
Okay.
still gonna cliff it.
All right.
Yeah. What about you?
This is hard. I feel like I want to marry Disneyland because it's in my backyard. And oh, fuckadoodle dandy. I'm gonna kiss Hobbiton. I'm gonna cliff the Scottish Highlands.
Wow.
I know.
All right.
I've never been to Hobbiton, but it's coming up, and I feel like I'm gonna love it.
Yeah. It just looks so beautiful.
Mhm.
And I like that little house a lot.
Elise says, I love that Natasha's trying to convince Disneyland. Laura said, Natasha and Disneyland is a friends to lovers story. We've been friends
It is.
since the womb.
Yeah. Mine's more like a friend's acquaintance's story.
That
Friend acquaintance.
you ghost.
I ghost sometimes.
Yeah. Oh, Elise says, I'm already coordinating the ball with a trip to Disneyland, so I get you. Guys, I really, if I have the energy in me, I would like to do like a meetup or like a day at Disney on Sunday.
At Disneyland?
Yeah, like after I'm gonna be fucking dead, so I'll probably show up like at
Like
2.
VidCon?
Yeah, like at VidCon, and then
Yeah.
so if you guys I will be there. If you let me know, I'll make a post on like the Patreon or wherever. If you guys are not obviously,
Well,
patrons.
I need to know because I need to get tickets.
yes. So the 20.
This has to be official if we're doing it.
Well, let's wait and see. We'll make it official like next month. When tickets go live, I'll be like, all right, we're doing a Disneyland day on Sunday. But again,
Okay.
I'm not going to show up until like 2:33 because I need to sleep.
I will probably do the same thing.
Mhm.
I will come with Natasha.
Yes.
So our meetup will be late. All right. All right. Well, that's exciting. We are going to wrap up the main show now. We're going to go record Fangirl Tea Time, which again is available on our Patreon from the Team Jacob tier and up, $5 tier and up. We release new episodes every Friday. If you missed our chapter chat announcement, because I've seen a few questions about chapter chat, we now have a separate show for chapter chat. It comes out every single Thursday. We're currently going through House of Flame and Shadow by Sarah J. Maas. And okay, if you're confused about ACOTAR, I mean, ACOMAF. We are in the middle of ACOMAF. We paused it because it felt more timely to do House of Flame and Shadow while it was releasing. But we will get back to ACOMAF. We're going to start releasing those condensed like episodes of the chapter chats we've already done after we finish House of Flame and Shadow. And then we will continue ACOMAF and finish our read of ACOMAF. But it just felt like the timing was right since we were reading House of Flame and Shadow to record House of Flame and Shadow and release it as people were really excited.
We should be halfway through House of Flame and Shadow by the end of March, I think. Right?
Yeah. I'm having so much fun discussing House of Flame and Shadow. If you guys haven't checked out our chapter chat episodes, like they're so fun and I love them.
Me too.
So we're in the trenches there. Like we're in the middle. Not even
Well,
the middle.
we just finished recording all the way up like past Act 1. So
nice. Yeah. So anyway, those are releasing every Thursday. The main show releases every Friday. The show is edited by Alex Polis and Jake Needham with music by Colin Jenkins and vocals by Heather Traska. Our socials are done by Chloe Laverson. Make sure you're following us on Instagram at Those Working Fangirls, at TikTok at Those Working Fangirls. And then, of course, we're on youtube.com/at Those Working Fangirls. All the links are in our show notes. All right, we're going to go record tea time. My name's Christine.
I'm Natasha.
And we'll see you next week. Bye, everybody.
Bye.